It also reframes our response to setbacks. So they're less threatening to our overall motivation when goals are identity based, because missing the outcome doesn't invalidate us. Do you struggle to maintain weight loss but desperately want to feel good in your own skin, confident in your clothes, and improve your overall health? If so, you're home. Hey, I'm Sam, dietitian, specialist in weight management, and former functioning fat girl. I learned the secret of how to lose and maintain weight by simply nourishing my life well. If you're ready for the sustainable nutrition strategies, consistent habits, and freedom from a self-sabotaging mindset, grab your water bottle and let's go. Before we get started on today's amazing episode, I just want to remind you that if you're not subscribed to my email list yet, you're missing out. I'll be breaking down the most important points of these podcast episodes, providing you with a healthy recipe of the week or a favorite meal prep tip, and give you first dibs on any new offers or programs I'm running. This is the best way to stay in contact with me, and I'd also really love it if you sent in ideas for topics to get into on the podcast. So don't miss out and go ahead and click the link in the show notes to subscribe to Anchored Living, my email newsletter. Okay, let's dive into the episode. What do you think about intermittent fasting? Should I do that to lose weight? I'm sick of feeling this way and I just want the weight off. Should I be a vegan? I'm going all in after the new year. I want to be down 30 pounds by March. I'm going to replace 2 meals with protein shakes and just eat protein and vegetables 1 time a day. My friend's cousin's sister's husband did keto and lost like 1,000,000 pounds in 5 minutes. Can I do that? These are all questions I've been asked recently about weight loss. I kid you not. The short answer, yes. Any of those things can result in weight loss. My question is then, will you be able to maintain it? There is no sexy, magical secret to long-lasting weight loss. The magic we are seeking, and I say we because y'all know I am right there with you, the magic we are seeking is found within the consistent habits we are all trying to avoid. We can't get out of them, I promise. So there's 1,000,001 different ways we can see the number go down on the scale. But then what? How will you ensure you keep the weight off once you stop whatever the diet is? Friends, welcome back to another episode of the More Than a Number podcast. I'm so happy you're here. If you're listening in real time, we are quickly approaching a brand new year. The time of year when most people who struggle with weight decide, this is it. This is my year. New year, new me, baby. I'm going all in. I'm going to lose the weight for good. So what do? We set unrealistic, vague, outcome-based goals that focus on the wrong things, and we crash and burn before even making it out of January. Who's been there a time or two? Or 40? My hand is raised if you didn't know. I know you can't see me. Then we're all filled with guilt and shame. We feel like a failure and we go off the rails and say, the heck with this. And the whole dang cycle continues. Am I right or am I right? Well, friends, I want to put an end to that cycle and help you map out a New Year, Better Me game plan. In this episode, I want to explain the differences between outcome-based goals and identity goals. And most importantly, why the heck that matters and how we can use both to set ourselves up for the new year. And then in the next episode, I'm going to go through how to put it all together to create your New Year Better Me game plan and ring in the new year equipped and empowered to become your best self. Are you ready? Good, because I'm excited to get started. So when we set goals, we're essentially asking two questions. What do I want to achieve, which is the outcome, and who do I want to become, which is the identity. These two approaches are related, but they differ in motivation, sustainability, and that, lifelong, long-term impact. Research suggests the identity-based goals can be more powerful for the long-term, lasting change. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again and louder for the people in the back, probably 1,000,000 times more on this podcast. As much as we want to lose weight and feel so desperate to see that number on the scale go down, I do not know a single person that wants to lose it and then just gain it all right back, right? No, we want to lose it and keep it off. That distinction is what I believe sets me and my clients apart from the general, quote, do this and lose weight crowd. We have been losing and regaining weight for what feels like an eternity. And we're absolutely sick of it. Enough is enough. It's so far beyond, I want to look good in my jeans. And so many of us even, I know it's hard for me too, so many of us even struggle to really put into words what that feeling of hopelessness and desperation is, to so deeply desire being free from the excess physical and mental weight of chronic overweight and or obesity. And when the desire is so deeply rooted, our approach to achieving our goals needs to be just as deeply rooted. We can't just step into the new year I will lose 50 pounds by never eating carbs and working out 2 hours a day every day. The all or nothing approach ain't it for us, guys. We need substance. We need depth. We need to stop comparing ourselves to other people and do a deep dive into ourselves and how we can become the best versions of ourselves. You feel me? Okay, I got excited. Let's keep going. So let's break down outcomes versus identity. What are the outcome-based goals? They focus on a specific result that we want to achieve. So I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to run a marathon. You would never catch me dead running a marathon, but that's an example. Not a runner. I want to increase my bench press by 30 pounds. The defining feature is that the goal is about external achievement. So it's a number, a trophy, or a specific milestone. These goals can be motivating because they give you a clear target to aim for. However, if you listen to this podcast, you know we are more than a number. Haha, see what I did there? And researchers and goal-setting theorists note limitations of this approach. So basically, motivation tends to drop really significantly, once the outcome is reached or if it's missed. So if you say you want to lose that 20 pounds by March, and March rolls around and you're no closer to that goal, then what? We just feel like a failure, and that only makes the backslide worse. Once the target is off the table, there's really nothing left to pull you forward. So even if you hit it, then what? There's no reason to maintain or keep going. Outcome goals can feel externally imposed rather than connected to who you see yourself as. So it's like what we think we should be doing. We should lose weight. We should exercise more. We should. And, it may not be something that we really feel connected to. We just think we should be doing that. They often depend heavily on incentives and, I love this word, willpower, which are difficult to maintain in the face of obstacles, says Stronger by Science. So willpower is a word I hear 9 million times a day. I just don't have any willpower. And one of the things that is part of that long-term lasting weight loss process is regaining trust within ourselves and creating the willpower. We don't just magically wake up with it. And, I think some of us are expecting that that's going to happen. There's a gentleman named Edwin Locke, and he does a lot of work on goal setting. There is an actual classical goal theory that he says outcome clarity does correlate with performance, but that's typically in controlled short-term settings like work tasks, not long-term lifestyle changes like nutrition or behavior patterns. So I want to balance the budget of my business today, or, goals like that, where they're kind of just like performance, they're temporary. It's like, not temporary, short term settings, meaning, today I'm going to clean the bathroom. I'm going to do the laundry, like those types of things. That's where outcome can be more relevant and better adhered to. Okay, moving on. So what are identity-based goals? Identity-based goals kind of flip the script. They start with who you want to become rather what that target is, like what you want to get. So instead of, I want to lose 20 pounds, you reframe it as, I am someone who nourishes my body and moves consistently to feel strong. I know it sounds like semantics, but it's so much more than that. It literally changes our whole outlook on it and our motivation structure. Behavior is so important. So according to identity-based motivation theory, identities provide meaning and direction for action. When a behavior feels consistent and aligned with who you are or who you want to become, who you're working towards becoming, it feels more natural and less like a chore. So, for example, you don't feel like you're on a diet, it's just your normal healthy lifestyle. This really does matter because people don't just act when they should. They act when something feels like a part of who they are. And on days when we don't necessarily feel like doing the thing, we're more likely to just automatically push through instead of grasping onto the 100 different excuses that we can conjure up to get out of it. Okay. When your goals are tied to your identity, the motivation doesn't disappear once you reach that milestone or if you miss it. Instead, the behavior is reinforced because it's like an expression of who you are. So, for example, someone who says, I am a runner, is more likely to keep running even after completing that marathon that they wanted to complete, because running is now part of their identity. It's not just like a task, like check, I did it, I ran the marathon, I'm done. It also reframes our response to setbacks. So they're less threatening to our overall motivation when goals are identity based, because missing the outcome doesn't like invalidate us or our sense of self. It doesn't cause us to just think, well, I'm a failure, I suck, moving on, not going to try again. It doesn't do that. It just redirects the process and can actually like create motivation to figure out, well, why did I miss that goal and how can I do it better? And, it can really like fuel the comeback rather than just like accepting defeat and moving on. Makes sense? So in contrast, outcome goals can trigger unnecessary discouragement if our focus is only on the outcome. Then, like I said, we feel like a failure, even if you did make progress. I usually see this a lot in, with people on their weight loss journey, like when they give a time frame. If they say like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 4 months or whatever their time frame is. And maybe we get to that like 4-month mark and they didn't lose 30 pounds, but they lost 22 pounds or they lost 18 pounds. And, I'm handing out tissues because they're crying. They feel like a failure because they didn't reach their goal. And it's like, but you lost 18 pounds though. And so what that does to our brains when we just assume defeat and feel like a failure is then we start backsliding. And it's like, well, I missed it. Oh, well. And we can gain back that 18 pounds in like 2 seconds. Whereas if you just keep progressing, okay, maybe you get the other 12 pounds off in the next 2 months. Who the heck cares that it took you 6 months and not 4 months? Do you see what I'm saying? So, when we make our behaviors just a part of who we are, then we don't like see it as defeat when we were to give a time frame or something like that, an outcome-based goal. Okay, so it matters so much, and there's a lot of science behind this, and I will include some of the links that I'm looking at here in the show notes so you can see those different articles. There really is like a very robust body of psychology research that supports the idea that these identity-linked behaviors are more likely to stick for a person because that identity drives action. Identity-based motivation theory argues that people are more likely to act in ways aligned with their self-concept, basically their sense of self, and process challenges through that lens. So if you see yourself as someone who prioritizes health, then choosing a salad or, the grilled salmon instead of the chicken fingers and French fries just feels like being you, not just kind of a means to an end to lose weight or because you're being forced to. Identity can reinforce habits. It's, linking habits to identity strengthens our brain and, really involves like how holistically we see like the picture of those behaviors, making them more automatic and less dependent on external prompts. It's supported by, there's so much habit research showing better long-term adherence when behavior aligns with our sense of self. So basically building those habits that back up who we are or who we want to become. Identity isn't just a label. It provides meaning and context for behavior. So, people with a really clear sense of identity that aligns with those health behaviors that are, the behaviors of a person who is 30 pounds less or 40 pounds less, tend to interpret difficulty as important, but not insurmountable. So we're less likely to become overwhelmed and quit because yes, we understand that it's hard, but we also understand that we can do hard things. And so it's not overwhelming and impossible. Some comparisons, from outcome-based versus identity-based goals. I want to lose 20 pounds would be the outcome, right? The identity is I am someone who cares for my body and nourishes it with healthy food. Outcome, I want to run a 10K. Identity, I am a runner. Outcome, I will save $10,000 this year. Identity, I am someone who manages my money wisely. So in the outcome version, success depends on hitting a specific target, whereas in the identity version, the behavior becomes just an expression of who you are, which supports doing that action consistently over time. And that's how we maintain our long-term weight loss. It's not that outcome-based goals are bad per se. They are what kind of provides the direction and the focus and clarity of where we want to go. But the identity goals are more effective for the long term. And I think I've mentioned this probably 10 times already in episodes of the podcast, but we're going to talk about him again. James Clear, who wrote the book Atomic Habits, which if you have never read it, please do yourself a favor, get yourself a Hanukkah or a Christmas present or a New Year's present and order it. If you're listening to this episode like not in real time and it's the middle of the year or whatever, get yourself a whatever month you're in present and order it. Atomic Habits is amazing. I love it so much, and I use so much of the tools in that book with myself constantly and also with all of my clients. So, okay. James Clear kind of puts it like this. Outcomes are about what you want. The processes are about how you act. And then identity is about who you are and believe yourself to be. So looking at it from that perspective, outcome goals give us a destination, whereas the identity goals give us a sense of self and belonging inside that journey. Research on behavior change also shows that people are most successful when they combine both. So we need both. It keeps clarity about our outcome and it anchors our behaviors in an identity that supports sustainable habits. So what does this mean for our real life? Like, how do we integrate this into our real life? The outcome-based goals are good for short-term focus, clarifying expectations, and measuring progress. But they fall short when behavior needs to be sustained for a long period of time after the goal is reached, when motivation dips after, like early progress, and identity and self-belief are not strengthened. Identity-based goals shine because they make behavior part of who we are. They promote consistency through self-concept reinforcement, aka sense of self. And they help us interpret setbacks as temporary rather than just, like identity shaking. That's why coaches like me and behavior change experts often encourage the identity first approach for that long-term transformation that I know that we are all trying to achieve that's listening to this podcast. Like I said, none of us want to lose the weight and then go off the rails and gain it all back in a matter of a few months, right? We want the long-term transformation. So in summary, we establish our outcome-based goals so that we can focus on the results and what we want to achieve. And then we establish our identity-based goals to focus on who we want to become and to shape our behavior from the inside out. Psychological evidence supports that identity-aligned behaviors are more sustainable because they tie the action to the self, not just a finish line. I love that. Combining the clarity that comes from defining our desired outcomes with identity alignment gives us both direction and that really deep-rooted motivation that we're all striving for that lasting change. So as we creep closer to the new year, I still am in denial and can't believe it, but as we creep closer, we can use our present holiday chaos that we're probably all in as a guide to really think about how we'd like to improve so that next year's holidays, maybe we don't struggle as much with the food noise, the overeating, the lack of structure, or that elusive willpower we always blame on not having. What if we could become the best version of ourselves so that next holiday season we're confident, we're consistent, and we actually feel joy versus constant struggle? Think about it. What does your best self look and feel like? And catch me right back here next week when we dive deeper into how to put those two different goals into practice and go into the new year ready to roll out the game plan. Friends, I love you. God loves you. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. God bless you and yours. Hey friend, I really hope you feel empowered by this episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with another friend who needs it? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It brings me so much joy to know this podcast is helping you. Okay, time to go nourish well, aka eat some good food. I'll meet you back here next time for another episode. I love you and God loves you. Have a beautiful day.